Kiss. Kiss. 106.5.
Kyle, Jackie O this morning here at Kiss Fashion Police on E and E News. We love Giuliana Rancic. We love her.
We love her. She's one
Bill.
of our favourites.
Oh, we love the whole family.
Yeah, and she's on the phone now. Good morning,
Hi.
Giuliana.
How are you?
Good morning. Hi, Kyle. Hi, Jackie O. How you doing?
Very
Good.
well,
Good
hun.
to see you there hosting the Miss USA pageant over the weekend.
Oh, what a
Looking
dream
gorgeous.
job. What a dream gig. How'd you get that gig?
You know what? It's one of my favorite gigs to do because I don't know if you guys know this, but I actually competed in Miss Maryland USA twice when I was younger.
Did you?
That sounds really budget. Is that big time or no good?
Well, okay. So the Miss Maryland USA pageant, you get to Miss USA if you win it, and I bombed the final question twice.
Oh, what was the question?
Oh, it was like the most pathetic, easy question. It was like, what would you do with the title of Miss Maryland? And I was trying to say, having the title will give me access to do good things around the state. And instead I said, having the title will give me the key to the city, which is what the mayor gets.
No good.
But do you ever sympathise when those girls get asked those questions, and do you sometimes think, oh, that was an easy one, but then some of them get pretty hard
They
ones?
do. They're very difficult to answer.
You know what? I really felt for them. And they had tough questions. You start hearing the judges saying things like Guantanamo Bay and negotiating with terrorists. And you're like, you're aware we're at the Miss USA pageant. Like, really? You're going to ask this girl standing here in a bikini about, Guantanamo Bay and terrorism? And but that's the thing is these girls have to be prepared for anything. But my heart bleeds for them because not only are they, put on the spot and they have only 30 seconds to answer and they have to think quickly, but they're also really nervous.
Yeah.
They're so nervous. And in the U.S., about 6 million people watch that show. And so you've got 6 million people watching. It is nerve-wracking, but I will say I love when a disaster happens. And last night, sadly, no disaster happened on
Oh, we
what
hate
a
that.
shame.
So there was no MAPS answer. Remember the MAP answer?
Yeah.
What was that?
Oh, that was one of the best ones ever. The answer she gave about I can't even remember what the question was, but she just rambled.
I remember. It was South Carolina. It was Miss Teen USA, and they asked her something about education or how there weren't most kids can't point out
Yes.
the United States on a map.
Yeah.
And she started going off about how we need to give more education to South Africa and the Iraq. None of it made sense.
Did that girl win? No, she didn't win.
she didn't.
Of course she did. No, I'm just kidding.
Now, you had to choose from 30 gowns last night into, whittle it down to 3. And I think you chose another Australian gown, Stephen Khalil.
I did. I know. You guys, I'm slightly obsessed with you Australians. I think I need to become an honorary Australian.
You are.
It's become a joke. I'm not kidding. It's Kyle. It's become a joke in our dressing room because I'll always go, hey, I'll ask my stylist, Monica, I'll say, Monica, everyone in the audience, at Fashion Police is asking who's this dress. And she'll just start laughing. She's like, it's an Australian designer. And we just start laughing because everything I like is Australian, and
so that's it's just a coincidence, is it? You go, I love this, and it's another Aussie one.
It really is, and so I've been wearing, a lot of your designers. I love the fashion in Australia, and I think you guys really do have some of the best designers in the world. But even today, I was looking at a picture of Kourtney Kardashian on Instagram, and she was wearing Cameo, which is Australian.
That's right.
Yeah, you looked amazing in that Stephen Khalil gown. Good choice. One of my favourites, I think. I've seen you wear.
Jackie, you should send a Twitter picture of what you're wearing now.
Yeah, I'm wearing a parka.
Yeah, she's wearing
a George Costanza jacket.
Yeah, George Costanza army green parka.
That's a far cry from your Stephen Khalil gown.
Yes. And, but no, it was fun. But I had 3 minutes to change. 3 minutes 30 seconds for each wardrobe change for 3 gowns.
Wow.
Well, why didn't you do the Gaga thing where you just get changed on stage?
Yeah.
Oh my God, next year. Miss Universe. I'm going to save that for Miss Universe.
And you were talking recently on Fashion Police. You said that there are a few celebrities in Hollywood that dress themselves. They don't have a stylist. But there's only, I think, 2, you said, that can actually pull it off every time. And that's Blake Lively and Diane Kruger.
Oh, Diane Kruger.
Yeah, she's pretty hot, though, Diane Kruger. She looks good every time.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
She does. Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, so many of these girls, you think, especially, and Blake Lively, too. I mean, they look so incredible every time they hit the red carpet. But, yeah, a lot of these girls, some swear by their stylist, but other ones are just like, you know what? I have money. I have, I can email and text people. I know what I'm doing. And they pull their own stuff and get their own gowns and style it themselves because they have really good taste. And I think Blake always looks incredible.
I agree. Wow, do they really? They don't have a stylist getting it for them and they just pick. They're actually sourcing all this stuff themselves. That's pretty amazing.
They are. Some people buy it. Well, what's interesting is, people think, because you're in Hollywood, you can pull everything you want, but and get it for free. But unless you're a sample size, which is a very small size, designers don't have samples in your size. So a lot of the girls that, and I'm not saying Blake and Diane are in this category, but a lot of women in Hollywood go and buy their own clothes because they're not sample size. But in the case of Blake and Diane Kruger, they've just made really good relationships, and they'll call like Versace or Gucci and they just send them whatever they want. They'll find them in the lookbook or online, and then they just send them whatever they want.
Wow.
I was watching E! News last night. I saw that you guys confirmed you had a photo of Benji Madden and Cameron Diaz there saying, there they are holding hands. So that's a definite goer.
I know. Can you believe that? Like, who saw that coming?
Well, we asked Benji like a week ago, and he was, because we said, we've heard the rumours.
He was so vague it had to be true.
I don't know.
When they don't deny it and they just all beat around the bush, and we were thinking, that must be
totally
true then.
Doing it. How do you reckon that happened? Because they're friends with, isn't she friends with...
Nicole and Cameron are friends.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah, Nicole and Cameron know each other, and that's how the introduction happened. But I kind of like it. I mean, Cameron, what I like about it is just Cameron with a younger kind of rocker guy.
Yeah.
I think she needs someone to rock her world a little bit right now. And
how would you girls think, though? Listen to this, girls. Like, imagine that. Imagine Bill and Jackie. You imagine your husband Lee, and imagine they had a twin brother, and then your girlfriend, your best friend, all of a sudden was in love and started dating the clone of your husband. Do you think, hang on a second, she wants what I've got?
I don't think I would be. No, I don't think I would be worried about that. Because they're different people at the end of the day.
They're not really. They're the same person,
they're
really.
Not.
They are.
but I think Benji's...
I think if anything... Like, they should be worried because you and the girl are going to be comparing notes on, like, intimate things. You know what I mean? Like,
that's right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. Like he's what? He's this, he's that, And so, it could get a little embarrassing for them.
It could.
Based on who is kind of falls short in certain departments.
Yeah. And so sorry to hear the news about the miscarriage as well, Giuliana. I know you shared that very personal news recently. Was that quite some time ago that happened?
Yeah, it was. It was. That's the thing about it is, as hard as it was to go public with it, it was something that we just felt like we had to tell because it's going to come up at some point, and especially with our finale of our show that aired last week, we just felt like we wanted to explain it a little more because on the finale, we're very ambiguous. We kind of just touch on it a little bit and move on.
Right.
And we felt like after we watched the finale a week before it aired, and we just felt like, I feel like people are going to have questions. They're going to want to know a little bit more, and so we came out with the news, and a couple of months have passed, and we've had time to process it. It would have been just like, for instance, when we shot the finale scene, it was just it had just happened, and it was just too tough to talk about in front of cameramen, and people some people you don't know, and so it was a little awkward, to be honest. That's the thing with reality TV; it can get a little awkward at times because it's real life and it's personal stuff, but But I'm happy we talked about it. And, it's always nice to share things that other people are going through. I think that it helps people feel less alone. And so many women have reached out and said, thank you, for telling me this. I felt like I miscarried and there was something wrong with me. And, and I was looking, and here comes Duke. Anyway, Duke's walking in. Oh, hi, Duke. So we're doing well now. And that's the thing. Speaking of Duke, who just walked in the room, he makes me kind of realize that life moves forward, and it's, yes, we had bad news today, but before we know it, we'll have some great news again, and we'll have another perfect little Duke.
Kiss 106.5.